They gathered before sunrise, there to send a message to the ICE agents inside this federal building. It didn't take long for it all to boil over.
I'm angry and I just want this to be over. This isn't the Minneapolis I know and love.
We're being attacked by our own people, by our own federal government.
The people of the Twin Cities pushed to the brink by 3 gunshots on Wednesday from an ICE agent caught on video that ended the life of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a poet, a wife, and a mother.
A caring woman, down to earth, willing to give you her coat off of her.
Sorrow hangs heavy here, but again, that anger not far from the surface.
This is not going to be the last one. These people have no accountability. They have no control.
The ICE officer who pulled the trigger identified as Jonathan Ross, an experienced agent who court records show was dragged by a vehicle and injured during another immigration operation 6 months ago. A federal investigation into the shooting is underway, while community leaders demanded transparency.
What happened here was not lawful. It was not justified, and it must not go unanswered.
There are fears this incident might be answered with violence in a city that just 5 years ago was torn apart after a police officer murdered George Floyd. Those memories fresh as many try to process this latest tragedy.
I do not hope for any violence, but it seems that can of worms has kind of been opened already, not by us.
Adrienne, this is the second night in a row now. Thousands of people have come out here in Minneapolis, and while it is loud and passionate, so far it has been peaceful.
So clearly, Katie, it seems what these protesters want is for ICE to leave the state, but it doesn't appear that's going to happen.
No, the Trump administration is doubling down, announcing that they plan to bring in another 100 agents, which could potentially add more fuel to this fire.
All right, be careful, my friend. That's Katie Nicholson in Minneapolis. Now, while the Trump administration is putting more boots on the ground in Minneapolis, it's also doubling down on its message that the shooting was a case of self-defense. Katie Simpson now with the combative messaging from the White House.
Thank you. At the White House, blame for the ICE shooting in Minnesota falls squarely on the woman who was killed.
I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. Ramming an ICE officer with your car, that's what justifies being shot.
In defending the ICE agent, the vice president claimed without credible evidence that Renee Good was part of some radical conspiracy.
That woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job.
And to any journalist refusing to repeat the White House narrative,
you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.
No! Shame!
Videos of the shooting have cast doubt on the Trump administration's claims among members of the public, along with local and state officials.
It feels very, very difficult that we will get a fair outcome. And I say that only because people in positions of power have already passed judgment.
The governor is angry Minnesota law enforcement has been left out of the FBI investigation, warning the Trump administration has undermined its own credibility.
From the president to the vice president to Kristi Noem have stood and told you things that are verifiably false. Verifiably inaccurate.
They have not been cut out. They don't have any jurisdiction in this investigation.
The head of Homeland Security pushed back against any and all criticism, blaming her political opponents for inflaming tensions.
That kind of language and that kind of provocative talk, inciting people to take action and perpetuate violence in some cases, is unacceptable, and especially of elected leaders.
The White House has an established pattern of assigning politically motivated blame and making accusations without evidence well before investigations are complete. Think of that deadly plane and helicopter crash in D.C. last year. Trump blamed DEI or diversity policies without evidence. And recent political violence has broadly been blamed on so-called radical left-wing networks as well.
And Katie, you know, thinking about Attorney General Pam Bondi, she has a new warning for protesters, it seems.
Yeah, she's on social media reminding demonstrators that obstructing or impeding federal law enforcement is a crime and that people will be prosecuted. Do not test our resolve, she said.
All right, that is Katie Simpson in Washington. The fatal shooting is giving more weight to questions and concerns about the amount of training given to ICE agents. Thomas Daig shows us how a recruitment blitz ushered in lower training standards.
With the Trump administration ordering immigration raids across the U.S., ICE has gone on a hiring spree, more than doubling its ranks this past year, bringing in an extra 12,000 recruits, raising concerns about those hired in a hurry.
This is a agency that is growing quickly, that has limited training, that has lowered standards for qualifications.
New hires are sent to an academy in Georgia, where basic training has been slashed by half, down to as little as 6 weeks. Changes defended last year by the director of ICE.
I wasn't going to water down training, right? Like I said, having gone through it myself, I know exactly what we need.
I'm deeply concerned about the training that these officers are or are not getting.
The Department of Homeland Security posting recruitment ads online, telling would-be agents, America needs you, urging them to come deport all foreign invaders. All the while loosening requirements for those signing up, removing age limits for ICE agents, and no police experience needed.
Even before last year's hiring surge began, ICE officers were among the least trained and least educated in federal law enforcement.
This department directive says officers are trained to use only the force that is objectively reasonable in light of the facts and circumstances. No, shit! And as for that officer who opened fire in Minneapolis, he's said to be a 10-year veteran.
He's an experienced officer that has served a number of years, and we recognize that he acted according to his training.
Already the target of protests across the U.S., ICE is facing fresh scrutiny, with billions in new funding and thousands of new recruits taking the streets. Thomas Daig, CBC News, Toronto.